I'm here with Nicky Burmester, who's the Vice President of HR for Europe and Africa, 60,000 employees in 22 countries for Lear. Hi, Nicky.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good. Just a little bit of a delay there. It's great to see your face. We have a long history, which started in Singapore, of all places. How are you doing at the moment?
Look, really good. I'm back at the office, which is great. I'm based in Spain. So, as you know, Spain's been very badly hit by the pandemic. And we're coping really well. You know, it's a change process, but we're coming through it and it's feeling good. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
So you've just gone back to the office. How long were you out of the office for?
I was out of the office for about 12 weeks. I was working from home from that time, and we were doing a lot of work from home to keep our people and employees safe, which is really important, and more importantly, educated about the new world because we certainly knew the pandemic was not something that was going to be here in a week and gone. So there's been a lot of planning from that home time. But it feels nice to be back in the office. We have the social distancing, the disinfection. We've got surveys to ask people how they're feeling about being back at the office, and it's feeling good. It's feeling like the new normal.
So your role's covering 22 countries, so I suppose that's really covering 22 different situations across different countries.
Mhm. Yeah, it
And
is. I think that the challenge is definitely understanding what's happening in each of those countries. I think all all the countries in Europe and Africa were impacted at different times. So that gave us a bit of a breathing space to kind of get the lessons learned. And what we did in the organization is we decided from right really from the get-go when this happened that we would create a playbook. And what we found is that there was no sort of manual of what you do in a pandemic. You know, maybe there were some examples from Asia in the past. So Leah created a safe work playbook, about 80 plus pages that our operations and all our HR teams and our employees around the world could actually access. They could access it from home, they could access it in our plants, and really practical things we could do to make lives better and more importantly, keep our people very safe. And I'm really happy to say that we decided to release this to the public. So not just keep it for Lear. And so far, I think we've had 30,000 downloads. And so I feel really proud that in our organization, we were able to see a problem that the world was facing, use the brightest and the smartest people we had in our team, create something that would do good for other organizations, not just in manufacturing, but in any industry and in any country. So I think that's really helped build a strong foundation.
when you talk about that playbook was put together very early in the piece, or did that come later, and has
Yeah.
it had to be adapted?
hmm So it's really come very, very early. We got the best and the brightest together, knowing the size of our organization, and we've just described what I look after in Europe and Africa. We're a global company. That if we could have a playbook that could translate about how basic social distancing should look like, disinfection of the plants, how the new normal would look, how do we get our facilities back safely? How do we survey our people to make sure we're doing what we say? How do we ensure we've got the right protective equipment for our people? So I think that that was a secret for us to kind of minimize the cases, but also educate our people and tell people we care about you. So it was a really an engagement tool, but actually with genuine heartfelt reason, we want to make sure our employees are kept safe, you know, at all times. And we're only staggering return to the office where it makes sense, and we're rotating when people are coming back to the offices. And I also think that, you know, in some of our offices, we may not have people back for some time, but it feels good to be back in our office today. And of course, we have masks. I had, you know, the sanitizer this morning when I came in. I had my temperature check as I came in. That to me is going to be the new normal.
So, what about you as a vice president of HR? How did this play out for you in terms of your focus and also plugging into a global structure? Because I think the thing about COVID is it's been very local, but also for global companies, there's a whole structure to kind of work with as well. So, you tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I think, obviously in our region, we were hit first of all with Italy, which got hit particularly badly. But if I had to say, what did we do or what did I do as a leader? I think, first of all, remain calm, put myself into the shoes of the other people, and then really ruthlessly prioritize. Because in an organization, we have so many things to do and deliverables. And what we did is really looked at what are the core things we need to do to get us through this crisis and actually take the other things off the agenda. So all focus was on the health and safety of the people. I think communication was absolutely key. So every day I would have a call with my team. I still do, every single day about where we're at, how we're feeling, the temperature check of our own people, and how do we feel as leaders, right? Because we've got to be the front of this with operations. It's very important that the health check of HR is good and that we're communicating and in fact over communicating. So I think it's prioritizing, thinking of the people, and also you need to be very agile. As you know, COVID was developing when we started this. It was just Italy, and now it's virtually in every country in Europe and Africa, if not the world. So it's about being calm and adaptable, and also giving your team confidence that you can lead them through this kind of crisis. Well, there's nothing worse than a leader that isn't calm themselves, can't make good, timely decisions. And also, I think it's calling on experts. Did a lot of work with our health and safety team, getting the latest research about what we could be doing.
Yeah. So when you look at the last few months and then look into the future, what do you think you will take from this time and, mold into how the HR function and indeed the business actually operates in the future?
Well, I think everyone, I'm sure, over this time has taken personal stock of their own lives, their work lives. What do they want to do? How far away are they from retirement? Do they want to start a business? I think people have had a wonderful time to sort of set pause and reflect. Obviously, a lot of people have lost jobs in different organizations, and perhaps not everyone can see it so positively. But I do believe there's been fantastic opportunities for people to reconnect with family, hobbies, think differently. What I do believe is that the way of work will change. And one of the things we're doing in our region at the moment is we have decided to survey people after the COVID-19 experience and really understand what worked for you working from home, what didn't, how could we support you in the future? And then we're really being brave enough to say to the people, what would your new reality look like? If you had a wish list, how would you like to work? Is that still 5 days in the office? Is that some home working? Is that remote working? What really are the key drivers? And what we decided to do in the region, in fact, the survey's ongoing as we speak, so I can't share the results, but we decided to do this for every salaried band in the organization in Europe and Africa, just to get a temperature check. And having an early sneak at the results, the people want to change. So I think that there'll be a cultural change about how we work. I believe when people come back to the office, they'll want a much more collaborative workspace. Maybe the walls will come down, maybe the titles will come off the doors. I think people will want something different. And I think people have enjoyed exercising, they've enjoyed baking, they've enjoyed having time with their children. It's kind of been a reset that I think won't be kind of a one-hit wonder. I think we're going to live with some of these new ways of living for a bit longer yet. But I see that the workplace will change, and I also feel that come kind of maybe the end of the year when things settle, I feel like there's going to be a wave of people looking for new opportunities, perhaps wanting to start their business, live their dreams. I feel like there's a new consciousness of, um, I can have a different life here for the first time. Or people who have lost their jobs are recreating in spectacular ways. So I guess I'm an optimist at the best of times, but I think some good will come from this eventually.
I share your optimism, Nikki, and really echo your thoughts. And I think as employers, as leaders, as companies, we just need to be so open minded and listen to what people are saying now and be able to be adaptive, because we're not just competing against other companies, we're competing against broader life goals that the people are more aware of. I think it's really exciting.
Hmm. Yeah, I share that exactly. And I mean, no one knows what that's going to look like, but I want companies like Lear to be at the forefront of that. So if we know people are changing or feeling the change, that's why we were so persistent. Let's ask the people. Let's listen. What do you want? And I think if we can do that and make those changes and accommodate what people are feeling, I think the war for talent will be a lot easier. And I think that will be the challenge for corporations now, is to really engage with their people differently, communicate differently, and as you say, listen.
And that was Nicky Burmester, VP of HR for Africa and Europe for Lear. Thanks, Nicky.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Matt.